Hello my fellow hunters, I'm making this video because I recently saw a ton of videos on YouTube, on Reddit and everywhere else where content creators with a huge amount of subscribers recommending mathematically garbage weapons for Switch X, yes, to craft them in preparation for Sunbreak. And that was especially the case with the Crescent, the Nargacuga Switch X, which maybe isn't bad for grounded playstyle, but in Sunbreak you will even more force the aerial playstyle because you can get emmed very quickly within just a second. That makes your very fast access to a ZSD. And also, if you've seen the latest runs, especially there were a lot of 340 or 350 runs from SLS, and especially for monsters like that, you can see it's extremely good matchup, aerial Switch X, because you can always aim just to the glowing parts. Especially for Astalos, you can aim the horn, the wings or the tail, to uncharge him, and that deals a decent amount of damage, because yes, you can aim the weak points very easily. Also with, for example, Apex Zeros, where you can aim the glowing arms, which has an incredible good hit zone value. And yes, there are only a few matchups where grounded playstyle is better. One example is the Diablos, which has a grounded matchup for speedrunning, especially because the stomach hasn't a ledge zone, and yes, it's by far the best weak zone, so in that case you're forced to do a full rapid morph combo with Invisible Gambit. Yes, for the video I'm using the old weapon stats because I don't want to spoiler you with the Sunbreak weapon stats. Maybe I make a second video of that when Sunbreak releases. I also want to mention at the end of the video I'm talking about the Lucent Nargacuga Switch X, but yes, at the beginning, first for the Nargacuga Switch X. Yes, and here's an example. I don't want to tell who created this video, but yes, this video says you need to upgrade these weapons before Sunbreak. Okay, then we go to Switch X, and there you can see this guy that does for every weapon recommendations. So I personally think he's just looking at the EFR and says, oh, okay, that weapon is good, or this. And yes, for Switch X it's completely wrong to look at the EFR. And here is the example. He recommends Nargacuga, Tigrex and Sinogre. So the thing is, he doesn't recommend any elemental Switch X's, because I'm very confused. Elemental Switch X's are by far the best one. Maybe he didn't want to recommend too much weapons, but yes, with Tigrex, yes, that's correct. Tigrex is also my recommendation, and also Sinogre. Sinogre will be by far the best elemental Switch X in entire Sunbreak, if you look at the elemental values. Yes, and Nargacuga here, he recommends a complete garbage weapon, and now I'm gonna explain you why this is a garbage weapon and why this content creator is completely wrong with the Nargacuga Switch X. Okay, I'm gonna now start with calculating. I also forgot first, before doing the morph, I'll give you the reasons why Nargacuga is so bad, so you can read it here. I just read what I've written there. You can also check it out. I drop a link to this spreadsheet in the comment section down below. Why is the Narga SA the weakest SA in Sunbreak for aerial playstyle? First reason. It has the lowest raw of all weapons. Here you can see it has a pretty low raw, and also in Sunbreak they kinda nerf the Nargacuga Switch X, because later you can upgrade it into the Lucent Nargacuga Switch X. So if they currently with the full release gave the Nargacuga Switch X a raw value that's similar to the other weapons, the Lucent Nargacuga weapon will be completely OP, and that's the reason why the Crescent is the Nargacuga Monster Rank Switch X will be extremely weak in Sunbreak. Okay, that the Lucent Nargacuga is then when you upgraded it to this similar to the other Switch X. That's the reason why. Aerial combos has very high motion values with fixed damage. Yes, For example, for CSD, Soaring Wyvern Blade, Advanced Fire Slash Burst, and yes, the finisher. Yes, in this case the high raw weapons will benefit, and all skills, critical skills like Crit Eye and Critical Boost will be completely useless because, yes, file attacks are not afflicted by the crit. Power and elemental files have additional raw or elemental multipliers, poison not. So yes, you have to consider when you're doing a CSD, yes, elemental and raw, and power files are the switch axes that benefits most of it. I think most of it is the power file because of the file bursts that, and the elemental multiplier is only 0.7 or 1.5, so yeah, not really optimal. So I think yes, power files will have the most benefit. Also it is a poison file, and in this case yes, Rex Knasher can give you KOs. Knight's Crescent only have the good thing that it charges fast now, but now with the EVC, like you can see here, it loses the only advantage of being quickly end, elemental burst counter. So yes, every switch X can get end at the same time. So currently, the only from the file type, it doesn't has any benefits in comparison to the other switch X's. Yeah. Okay, that's also some several stuff I explained at the beginning of the video. Now we're gonna open my calculator and we're gonna type in all that stuff from the base rise version. Yes, please take it with a little bit grain of salt because motion values will maybe change. I have put in already all the hit zone values. We are using first a non-elemental switch X Nargacuga with white sharpness, no ramp up skills. It has a poison file, and yes, here now we can make use of the elemental burst counter, but you can see yes, it doesn't care about CSD, does still the same damage whether you're end or not end. Just the cycle DPS will change, but we will currently not look at the cycle DPS. Yes, elemental attack, I'm gonna max it out then. We have the Crucial Aura switch X. Did I forgot anything to disable? No. Okay. File type is poison, correct. Right sharpness. Now we put in the raw values. 180 raw. Sorry. I did something wrong. $180 raw with 0 element and 40% affinity. Give me 1 second, I want to check something. Yeah, okay. Oh yeah, yes. 180 raw with 0 element and 30% affinity. So we can look at the results. 805 693 593. So I'm using for the raw hit zone values always spicy hit zone, average hit zone, and the bad hit zone with different raw and elemental modifiers or hit zones. 60 raw hit zone with 25 elemental for a good hit zone value, 45 and 20 hit zone value for average hit zone value, and 30 raw and 15 elemental for a bad hit zone. So the reason why I'm using different hit zones is maybe because later when I'm using sets with weakness exploit, so you can see when a set with weakness exploit is working on bad hit zone values, so it's very much better for comparison. So now to the Tigrex switch X. We have here for the Tigrex exhaust file. Ja, geht gleich los. I had to make
preparare il pranzo.
So let's continue with the Rex Knasher. So you can see here all the damage output at the end. We're gonna compare all this stuff together. Rex Knasher 220 true raw with minus 20% affinity. Exhaust, yes, is put in 220 raw with minus 20% affinity. Like you can see here on the table, I'm gonna change this table for Sunbreak and maybe add the element burst counter and other stuff. You can see here all the gray numbers are fixed damage, so the darkish gray is fixed and the light gray is non-critical damage. So you can see here for fixed and unfixed damage we are doing with the Rex Canary, for example, for ZSD 58% of the damage output is fixed damage. Just for your information. And yes, I'm gonna copy that. 912, 795. So at this point you can see how much better already the Tigrex Switch X is than the Knight's Crescent, even if it has 60% less affinity. That's completely crazy. We did annoying affinity. 795. And for 30 hit zone value it's 693. Yes, okay. Sorry? Yes. So average is 800. So it's very easy to say. Narga Switch X average output is 700 and Tigrex SA is 800. Now we come to the most interesting point. I already figured out in the last video that we maybe get rid of the elemental files except the Narga Switch X if we have shitty raw hit zone values. The Narga Switch X maybe still can compete with the Sinogre, but we will see. Okay, now we're gonna adding the last weapon, the Kushtadaura weapon. It has a power file, we're gonna put it in here, so we get that huge boost, 15% raw, white sharpness, and we have ice element. The weapon has 190 raw and 41 ice. 190 raw doesn't look a lot of, but we have also that 41 ice. So for the affinity, in a normal case, in vanilla, we use the Kushtadaura sword, but the thing is, in Sunbreak, they will remove the ramp up skills, so I'm just typing in 0% affinity, because this calculation is without any ramp up skills or any additional skills, except the ice attack. Gonna put it to level 5, because we only need level 1 slots, and we have a ton of them, and there are not other skills that we can make useful use of yes, level 1 slot except speed sharpening, but we have wet fishes. So yes, I'm gonna add that ice attack, so we have now pre of 61 ice element. Okay, now we're gonna calculate the stuff. Yes, power file, ice element, and 190 raw. So the damage output, holy moly, that is completely insane. We have yes, fixed damage of 70%. Holy moly, that is completely crazy. 70% is fixed damage. This is completely crazy. So why is this the case? Because we also calculated for shitty hit zone values, and yes, it does is still a decent amount of fixed damage on shitty hit zone values, and that is why I recommend using aerial Switch X. 1184. 1018 and 844. So the average is 1015. And we're gonna just type in 700 to make it more understandable. And now we're gonna add a tab called Radio Increase to show you how bad the weapon is. Okay. Yes. Okay. Tigrex through Narga. is 1.4, 14.3, 14% stronger. And now the Aura Switch X is holy moly. This is crazy. This is complete crazy. 45% stronger than Narga SA. And it's also 27% stronger than best raw KOSA. Okay, and this so the auras Jana represent the power element Switch X meta, and you can see here the conclusion. Tigrex Switch X without any skills, without any matchup, just natural weapon. Tigrex Switch X is 14% stronger than the Knight's Crescent, all for our Switch X. Yes, even if the Tigrex Switch X has 60% less affinity. So you can see we can give a shit about affinity. And now the big surprise, power elemental Switch X meta for Sunbreak. The Aura Switch X, ja, alles klar. 45% stronger than the Narga Switch X. This is complete crazy. Hä? Ja, alles klar. Geht los. Okay, yes, so we can see the Aura Switch X 45% stronger than the Narga Switch X. And 27% stronger than the best raw KO Switch X. So you can see, yes, elemental meta for sure in Sunbreak. And the last thing I want to talk about, so you can see here, yeah, elemental Switch X still the best. Narga Switch X is complete trash. You can put it in the trash can. And yes, every content creator that recommends Narga Switch X is talking completely trash, and he doesn't know anything about Switch X. And I also don't recommend in future watching his garbage Switch X videos. And so you can also calculate yourself stuff, just copy the spreadsheet and you can make your own calculations, and you can recognize yourself that the Narga Switch X is trash. And the things I want to talk about at the end is this was from Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, and you can see here you can upgrade the Knight's Crescent later to the Lucent Nargacuga Switch X, and this Switch X is getting a power file. Okay, you can see power. And now we made a possible grain of salt calculation. 700 times 1.115, because we get the power file. So you can see here 805. So you can see here in this case maybe the Lucent Nargacuga Switch X is not at the same level as the elemental Switch X's, but it maybe can slightly be the best raw Switch X, pure raw Switch X. Okay, that was it with the video. If you have some ideas or other stuff for a mod comparison, tell me in the comments section down below. See you next time. Thanks for watching, guys.